Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
With a bear. I've heard about bears. They don't always attack you, right? Unless you, like, fuck with them. But maybe a bear.
Oh, now, if you ask me, that seems kind of embarrassing, huh? Let me get an outfit. It'll make this whole video make more sense in a second. What's going on, everybody? Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I can't bear to stand and see our current status of men versus women be in a situation like this. But on a serious note, this is the TikTok trend that was going around where people were asking naturally, hey, would you rather be with a bear or would you be with a man? And it's a question that's supposed to be ambiguous and see what the mental state of a bunch of women are, and they've even asked men some of the questions, and I think it's a decent question. We have to figure out why women are saying no, get these people out of their fear, because I think there's a bunch of fear mongering that goes on the internet. But of course, people decided to take that to a whole nother level.
I were alone in the woods. Would you rather me encounter a bear or a man?
I mean, is it a friendly man?
We don't know anything else. It's just man or bear.
I feel more like bear. I don't know, because I feel like I would know what the outcome would be with a bear, even if it was like an aggressive one. Don't know what the outcome would be with like a bad man.
But I think the likelihood of you getting a good man is probably higher than you getting a good bear. Listen, there are a bunch of statistics out there that we can't deny. We talk about SA, when we talk about, you know, just regular assault, when we talk about those things, a woman is more likely to have those things happen to her than a man is. So it does make you want to ponder, well, would you rather be in a situation with, I don't know, an incredibly violent and territorial animal or a man? We're not describing this man. It's disgusting though that people's mindset automatically goes to the mentality that this man is inherently evil, because it's almost like we're saying men are inherently evil, and I think that that's a dangerous conclusion to jump to. And I would want to investigate why women feel this way as opposed to feeling a different way. And I would honestly have to agree to some people that have the opposition in this conversation, because when we start to have this mindset and mentality, it skews how we go out into reality, and it skews how we teach the next generation to come up and be brought up and raised.
Don't sound like that lady wanted to choose the bear. Sound like she wanted to choose the man instead. Fellas, would you rather be stuck in the woods with a woman or a bear? Let me know, because I think, you know what? I think I would rather choose the bear. Because at least with the bear's not going to just date me for my money. At first it was questionable. I'm like, dang, what's more scarier, a woman or a bear? Because a woman lies. You know how many football players I've seen get lied on and lose their whole NFL chance and career behind a woman lying?
Meeting hyperbole with hyperbole is never going to solve the issue. We need to understand what people are feeling like. No, this guy sitting in a car is not an NFL player. No, most likely when he gets divorced, he will not be subjugated to half of his money being sent off in the divorce. And honestly, if we talk about who initiates divorce and why they initiate divorce, it would seem like that man in the situation will be worse. I think that this is a stupid conversation, but I think the worst thing that you could do is meet these hyperboles with another set of hyperboles instead of listening to what the women have to say in these conversations.
Okay, so men have been saying that they would rather pick the bear over a woman, and let's talk about it. For men saying this, y'all don't really mean that. You're just saying it because we said that we would pick the bear over y'all, and that bothers y'all. Women will do things in response to the harm that y'all do, and then y'all want to get vindictive and say, well, we could do that too. We're talking about being assaulted and brutalized by men, whereas y'all are talking about not wanting to be stuck in the woods with a single mother or be stuck in the woods with a woman that would use you for your money.
I do agree that there is some credibility to what she's saying. If what you're not into is getting victimized, assaulted, seeing some sort of physical harm onto you, then there is some reasoning why you would not want to be in a situation with a man. And that's why it's important to vet people when you date. But I think that there is a better way to present this conversation and argument. I understand that it was a little silly TikTok video, but when you present it that way, comparing a man to what we presume to be a violent, territorial, and dominant animal, and then picking the violent and territorial and dominant animal as opposed to the man in this situation, makes the good men feel this way, and it only furthers the divide in the conversation. And although you may have some women that stick up for us in the sense,
y'all doing too much. This hypothetical question about this bear versus man in the forest is about to get a lot of y'all feelings hurt. I mean, y'all women, you are the bear in the forest.
If the overwhelming majority is saying that bears are better than men, then it's gonna make a lot of men feel a certain way, especially when this conversation conversation escalates itself all the way up to the View conversation with all these cackling women on the panel.
So there's this clip going viral online of a dozen women being asked the following question: do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women? Most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless.
What's crazy is I looked up this woman, Anna Navarra, and she's married to a man. So I wonder what her man would think. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch her show often enough for this to be a real conversation. But I also would think that they brought this up to him in the office. What would her husband since 2019 think if she said those things to him or heard that she had said those things? If a man is so useless, then why did you marry your husband? I gotta know. Because at that point, you would think that this person would stay single for the rest of their lives and not seek any sort of relationship of that manner. That just makes no sense to me.
I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. The exception of somebody like Steve. I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth.
So what was the point of you marrying your husband if you feel this certain type of way? And I know you wouldn't be okay if your husband went to his workplace and talked about you in the certain manner that you talked about him, and then said in response, hey, well, let me clarify, the only thing that I need in my life is a bunch of lesbian women, because lesbian women can accessorize and feminize and do all these other things around you, in which my wife that I have dedicated under oath in front of God to be there for, in order for me to live and to hold. I don't need that. What I really need is lesbian women in my life. I feel like that would make you feel like you are less than shit. And the fact that they allow this to be on like a ABC network in front of a large scale audience is actually very troubling, because there is a bunch of housewives at home watching this as their husband goes out to provide for their family, for them, for the household, and they're putting this stuff in their mental Rolodex as a justification for maybe the next divorce or whatever the case may be. That's dangerous and harmful to people.
Everything, when things go bump in the night, he's the one that goes downstairs. When there's a bug to be exterminated, he does the extermination. When there is something to be fixed, he fixes it. He throws out the trash and he throws out the recyclables.
He's really talking about a servant, let's face it.
No.
It's a handyman she's talking about.
It's a handyman. Oh, it's a handyman with benefits.
We do not have, well, but the things that you're describing, you could pay somebody to do that. We're not talking about that. What about the inner life of a man? That's what this is about.
This is terrible rhetoric, deducing your partners to be something small and insignificant when it's really them playing their role, but titling it as something that diminishes who they are in their household. I would want to say, again, what would their husband say if asked this question? But men seem to be more logical in this aspect, to know that I shouldn't disrespect my significant other on national television. Only one of them is even pushing back on the concept that I wholeheartedly do need my man, and there's a reason why he is in my life, and I have accepted him, and I've said yes to being married with him. Because it sounds like a lot of these people don't feel like they should have said yes to being married to their husband. However, they still said yes to their husband. It's funny how she's saying that it sounds like her husband is a handyman and this is the stuff that they would pay to do. Well, ultimately, like 95% of handy people are men in this field. So one, it does sound like you need a man. And two, if we said that, oh, we don't need our wives or we don't need women in our lives, we'll just hire maids for the cooking and the cleaning services. If an overwhelming majority of those things sound like you need a woman in your life because a majority of those maids or maid services are women, it sounds like you just don't like your significant other. So you should probably stop projecting those experiences onto other people and think about the bigger picture. I think it's extremely sad to watch these women on this show and other platforms downplay women who are in love with their husbands. There's even one woman on the show who is still talking about the things that her husband does for her, where she's saying that, hey, my man talks about his feelings. And then naturally, we know what the response is when somebody says that a man is talking about his feelings.
I don't know. My husband talks about his feelings with his
Maybe he's gay.
So even in the situation where men are trying to be more accommodating to women, it seems like they can't catch a break because now they're labeled as gay, of course. Always bringing out the homophobia in the conversation. I don't think that these conversations are any sort of beneficial. I think that all they do is further the divide between men and women. Look, I can understand if there are women out there, and not even are women out there who've had direct experience with some of these assaults and other things things like that. That is a scary environment. There's a bunch of fear mongering going on. That's the reason why the home security industry is through the roof. People are buying guns at an alarming rate. People are getting these big, huge guard dogs at a alarming rate. A lot of people are scared because of the fear mongering that is done, especially on the internet, but in the world today. However, to think that you would put yourselves in a situation where you would A, say that you would choose a bear over a man, or B, say that men are useless, and then C, invalidate other people's experiences with their husbands even when they are happy, says that there's a bigger picture going on and they're trying to attack men and their masculinity. And I'm usually not on that type of timing, but that is a clear indication if I've ever seen one. But let me know what you guys think, because that was outrageous to me.